Hello and welcome to the Overly Animated Podcast, where we take animation seriously. We talk a bunch of animated shows and movies here with new podcasts every other Wednesday. Find everything about us at overlyanimated.com. I'm Dylan Hysen, and today I'm joined by Delaney Stovall.
Hey, y'all.
And April Collins.
Hi there.
It's time for more Miraculous Ladybug here, and this is our big Hawk Moth extravaganza podcast. Highly anticipated podcast that has finally arrived, all about Hawk Moth. If you like when we meme about Hawk Moth for half of the podcast every time we talk about Ladybug, well, that's the whole podcast this time. That's the premise of this podcast. So that's what's going to be going on. Like I said, overlyanimated.com for everything about us. We're going to get into our Hawk Moth segment shortly. By the way, this podcast is officially entitled Overly Animated Presents Hawk Daddy: the podcast.
Yay!
All hail Hawk Daddy.
All hail Hawk Daddy.
Hawk Daddy.
We'll praise Hawk Daddy and go over all of those Hawk Moth associated memes. In addition to probably some serious discussion about Hawk Moth is kind of the premise of this. So we'll see what we get to. No,
it's not every discussion serious discussion when it comes to Hawk Moth.
So you're saying inherently by talking about Hawk Moth, this is a very serious discussion.
Very serious.
Absolutely.
He's the villain. Very serious.
Yeah. Okay.
I have my serious face on, so...
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Yeah, it's fine.
I don't think she has one. That's what I think.
Yeah. The Ladybug podcast, do we have serious mode? We'll see.
No.
We'll find out. Also, we're recording this early in the morning for us. We'll see if that factors into your context for listening to this. We'll be trying our best here.
Clap your hands if you believe in Hawk Moth and Delaney.
Yes. I think it's appropriate. I think Hawk Moth is probably a very early riser. He has to start scheming very early in the morning.
Very early.
Look, those puns don't write themselves, okay?
So you think he wakes up... let's go over Hawk Moth's morning routine. This is the first topic. So.
Oh, wait. Hold on. Yeah, let's write out his schedule.
Do you think he, sits up in bed and takes his notepad and starts jotting down some puns?
Absolutely.
Yes.
What if he dreamed of a great Hawk Moth scheme and has a dream journal?
I was gonna say, I feel like he's a dream journaler, so he wakes up.
Does he actually write it down, or is it all on his iPad?
Yeah, he has that tablet. He's fine. Yeah, so maybe that.
Yeah, he's just furiously scribbling onto his iPad.
Is he waking up next to Natalie? Controversial question, but
controversial question.
Maybe he's telling them to Natalie, and she's transcribing them for him.
Yeah,
ooh, that'd be good.
Natalie woke up even 2 hours earlier.
Workshop?
And they definitely have workshopping for the puns. I think so. I think all of his ideas get written down by Natalie, and she just immediately archives them. But her ideas are the ones that are actually implemented, but maybe not, since as we're going to go over a lot of these.
But he has so many ideas that he just assumes that they're his ideas and goes along with
he forgets.
Right.
Yeah, he thinks they're all his. Yeah. No, but considering the quality of some of these lowlights we're going to be getting into, then maybe they are many of his. Okay, back to that in a second. So we're not what we've been watching segment this podcast. We're gonna update on that segment. We're gonna do it sometimes, but not always. Depends if there is stuff we want to talk about for that week. Not a lot of stuff airing at the moment. So instead, we're gonna talk about Miraculous Ladybug news. We've had some news come out. Most of this is there's a Brazilian con panel that Jeremy Zag, I assume he was remote into. But yes, we have some stuff from Jeremy. So asterisk that it's not from Thomas. So may or may not be 100% panned out in the show. Then we have some movie stuff, which Jeremy's directing, so that would be more relevant. But Jeremy says the Lady Butterfly is going to be the Brazilian hero during the Rio de Janeiro special, which will be releasing in 2022 on Gloob, the Brazilian network. And Thomas tweeted that he was in Brazil writing the Brazilian special. So that was the thing.
I thought he was locked in his very terrible apartment in
I don't know.
in the world.
I don't know about going to Brazil during the pandemic, but it's exciting that Thomas is writing the Brazilian special.
Yes.
We previously thought he was just writing New York and or just involved in New York and Shanghai, but there's also going to be Africa, London, and Japan specials. As far as we know, only Thomas is involved in this Brazilian special. So, but
100 years of Ladybug.
Yeah. Yeah, we have all these specials coming. I mean, they're done writing season 5, even though we have not seen season 4 yet, and probably won't for several months. So we have some of these specials coming as well, and we're still waiting word on season 6. So I think all that's very exciting. We have this was more relevant a few months ago, but there was a statement which has sparked much fan speculation. This came out of Brazil. The next seasons will have a new villain that has always been in the show, and will show that the story behind the Miraculous is more complex. That's someone tweeted that. So basically, there's this concept of there being a new villain that's always been in the show. I don't know if this means that Hawk Moth will not be the main villain, but it could be a supplementary villain.
I think it's just Chloe. Like, she's always been in the show.
Yeah, that was my first thought. Coming off of season 3, Chloe is, we're doing evil Chloe now, so I assumed this would be Chloe. I think Natalie could be interpreted as this, although I think she's already kind of a new villain that's always been in the show. Lila,
Yeah.
I definitely think, yeah. So these are some of these options. I think we've expecting some more complexity from Hawk Moth. So we'll see if this means that we're transitioning away from Hawk Moth as we've been anticipating for a while, or if
Gets to win for like 5 minutes.
if Hawk Moth gets to win and then there's a new Hawk Moth.
Yeah.
That could be, yeah. So we'll
I mean,
see.
what would make him stop? Like, do they just kill off Hawk Moth?
Or he
Like,
loses, yeah. He's like, I guess he has to do one of the two.
He gets beat
He
so
loses
bad.
his Miraculous. Oh, that's it. Like, you can't be a villain now.
We'll talk about some speculation for the next 2 seasons with Hawk Moth. That's one of the topics we have written down too. Here's another one. Jeremy confirmed the character Instagrams will be back. What the
man.
characters are up to during the
Whoa.
special show and movie. So yeah, since the person who ran the Instagrams has been gone, they are back, but they're not like role playing anymore.
Yeah.
We eagerly anticipate the role playing aspect being back. That was the best part of these.
I'm so excited.
That's April's specialty, yeah. Okay, then we have some movie stills. We can click on these. Jeremy occasionally tweets updates from the movie, which he is directing, which, as a reminder, as covered in previous podcasts, might be coming out at the end of this year, despite the fact that we've also heard that the movie takes place after season 5, and we've not even seen season 4 yet, so let's see what happens there.
This is gonna be great.
So we have more.
I'm so excited.
We've heard it's an alternate universe season 5, so it's unclear how much spoilers it would be if it aired before the last 2 seasons, but we'll see. So we have stills. We have a new shot of Ladybug, a new shot of Marinette, much more anime looking than maybe the current style. And then we finally got a shot of Adrian. The fans were clamoring for movie Adrian.
Oh, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
So we see bigger eyes. I mean, the current style also is
They're just softer. Is kind of
yeah.
what it looks like.
Yeah.
I think so. I think they look a little younger, maybe.
They look a little
Like-
like Pixar-ish.
Yeah, I was like, they're kind of like, I guess, like less animated, if that makes sense. Like, not more realistic, but like less like, I guess Pixar-ish is the good way to say it.
Yeah, I think this new style does look good. I
Oh
definitely
yeah,
like,
it looks great.
I like Ladybug's
Mhm.
current style. I don't think this is like a lot of people think this looks better. I think they're both good. They're both pretty solid.
I
They're
think
just
3D.
different.
I
They're
think
very
I think it works in like a cinematic setting.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean we're certainly used to this more of this style from our 3D movies. So I don't know, kind of makes sense.
I mean, they're just different styles. Like it's hard to compare the two, really.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do think underrated how good actual Ladybug TV show looks.
Yes.
Yeah, like we
Mhm.
we make fun of the fact that the background character models are all a lot of similar, but the actual like main characters that are in focus most of the time always look very good.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
it's-
the action sequences in the show are incredible.
yeah, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
good animation too. So interesting that the movie will have a different style. We'll look for more word on the movie. There's been some talk that, and I keep seeing that I think we mentioned this last time. People saying like season 4 confirmed for September because the 12-year-old reporter said that. I do think that is our best estimate as to when season, but I don't think that means it's confirmed. But we do trust her, so we're anticipating around the fall. But I think that can always change. Okay, I think that's it for Ladybug now.
Move it up.
I hope so. Yeah, I mean that is 8 months from now still, and it's been like a year since season 3 ended or something.
Oh my gosh, you're not wrong.
I know we had the New York special though, so that was.
We did have the New York special.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, let's get back to Hawk Moth talk here. That was enough Marinette and Adrian talk. That was it.
It's time for Hawk Moth.
That was it. Back to Hawk Moth.
We'll time code that for everybody. Like,
yeah, I mean, if you're a Hawk Moth purist like us, you can skip that part where we weren't talking about Hawk Moth.
What?
That's how April would listen to this podcast.
It's true.
No, I still like Marinette. She's still my girl. Adrian's a sentimonster, so we'll see.
Okay, I mean, normally I would ask, like, does that mean you care about Adrian less if he was a Sentimonster and dig into that? But no, we're not going to get sidetracked here. We're only talking...
No, because we're not talking about Adrian or Marinette.
Yeah, I mean, I guess Hawk Moth being Adrian being a Sentimonster, I guess might be relevant to Gabriel's what he's doing. So, I mean,
yes,
potentially very relevant. But okay, here's the thing, April.
What?
Your fave character, Hawk Moth, is the focus of this entire podcast. How are you feeling?
I gotta admit, I feel like I'm going to Disneyland, except it's not Disneyland. It's Hawk Moth Land.
Hawk Moth.
So,
should we have a whole Hawk Moth themed park?
Yes.
We could have a Ladybug themed park. That
okay, what would the rides be like?
Well, first off, there would be the Lair ride.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Experience Hawk Moth's journey into his clock tower or subterranean basement.
Yes, so that would be a ride in and of itself. And we can go into that in further detail later, or we could go into it now because I do have I jotted down some thoughts and drew some things in regards to his lair.
Okay, is that our main topic? Is Hawk Moth's lair? That's at the bottom of our outline. We can talk about that though. We can
start off with that, and then we can get into it. Like,
so that's what you're most excited to talk about.
I'm just really excited to show you guys what I drew because the Dead Wife Garden was a real hit, and I think that you guys will enjoy what I'm bringing to this table.
Are you pasting it in the Word document?
Oh, that's a good idea. I was just going to share.
Okay, well, let's introduce this. So, one of our topics we've been eager to talk about, I think we mentioned this in a previous podcast, is what are the logistics of Hawk Moth's lair? We've often questioned this. How is he sometimes going up, sometimes going down? What are the different locations? Where's everything located?
This is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, it's not.
Oh my god.
Okay, so April has made a diagram. So let's describe this. So I think the base of this diagram is a picture of the Agreste mansion,
which was actually really hard to find.
Yeah, you probably have to pause the episode at the exact right place. So,
well, not even that. Like, I just tried Googling it too, and it was just like the real life Agreste mansion, and I was like, what?
I guess it's based on something.
I was like, that's a different wormhole that I'm not yet prepared for. So,
yeah, we'll have to do all the real that could be a topic. Real Paris comparisons to the Ladybug locations. Okay, so we have Adrian's room ? On the right side of the Agreste mansion. What's that based on?
Just how they walk to rooms and
how much. What was your walk us through your preparation for making this diagram?
Okay, so. My preparation.
It was rewatching really episodes, Googling stuff. What's going on?
No, it was literally just like I don't even remember what I was watching. It was not Ladybug. I think it was something else. And I was just like, okay, like this is the house. So we know that there is a tower up somewhere and it looks out at the Eiffel Tower, but then also doesn't. And there's that big window. So I would assume that's in the back of the house because we've never seen that giant window. So that's where, like, where I have it circled. I'm like, oh, maybe it's in this little tower area. And then we know that he gets there from his office, but we also know that he gets down to the Dead Wife Garden from his office too. But there's two different modes of transportation, but he uses the same entrance. And so that's where this beautiful masterpiece of mine came from. So
is Keanu Reeves the Dead Wife?
Yes.
Okay, so you can, if you're listening, we're going to put this in the podcast description. So if you go to overlyanimated.com and click on the Hawk Daddy podcast, you'll see the image.
This is so good. There's an elevator down. But
okay, we gotta get it.
That goes up.
Okay, so there's a part that's squared that is office question mark, and then there's an arrow down, and then apparently there's an elevator down, and that's where the Dead Wife Garden is.
With Keanu Reeves.
And yeah, I see that. That's a good eye, Delaney, because Keanu Reeves is very small in our version of this picture. I don't know if I would have been able to catch that that's Keanu Reeves.
Also, I drew the butterflies.
Yeah, so there's Keanu Reeves surrounded by 3 butterflies and grass.
There's an actual moth, at the top. There's a lot going on.
That's an actual Hawk Moth. I just assumed that was the
there's a Hawk Moth, behind the title of the image. And then there's sewer water surrounding the... So you're saying the office goes down to the Dead Wife Garden. That's what April's saying. And then at the top, you mentioned this clock tower part, where there's a hamster tube up. Do physics exist, you say? And then it goes up to his tower that sees the Eiffel Tower. I think I see what you're doing. Yeah. And then there's many real butterflies in his traditional clock tower.
Yeah, because whenever he goes up into his lair or whatever, he gets on this little circular disc thing and he goes down, but then whenever he goes into the lair, he goes up and he's still on the circular disc. So I'm like, okay, it has to be a hamster tube. But then I was like, okay, but how is he still in the same, I guess, I don't know.
So in your diagram,
right.
This cube, that's the office that is and then the tube goes down and then up and then into the part in the top left of the drawing.
But then he also uses that same space to go down into the Dead Wife Garden.
I think it's this very large space that I don't know, I thought the Lair and the Dead Wife Garden were the same area but different levels.
Yeah, so I feel like the innovation here, from my understanding of the Egress Mansion, is that you're saying there's a top part that goes to his traditional lair, and then there's that's not the office. That's just near the office, and then the office
it's above the office.
It's above the office, and then below is his office, which goes down to the Dead Wife Garden. But probably there's an elevator connecting those two places.
Well, but there has to be. So it has to be a hamster tube elevator combo, He's because sometimes he'll go from the lair down into...
Because he goes down, but he's up. It makes
okay,
no
where's...
sense.
Okay,
yeah.
Is the part that overlooks the Eiffel Tower inside the actual Egress Mansion in the part that's circled?
Yeah.
That's where you're saying that is, and you're saying...
That's where I'm guessing that it is.
Okay.
What if it's in this little weird little, uppy bit? This, little triangle at the top?
At the very top of the mansion.
But then... How does he get up there?
No, it's a good question.
A lot of hamster tubing.
No, I agree with you. I don't
understand. Okay, I'm further understanding this drawing. So this cube at the bottom left is the office.
Yes.
And he takes the same exit that can either go down to the Dead Wife Garden or up to his lair.
But it transforms, so it's either
so he either pushes one button on the hidden painting or another button, and then depending, it either goes down and then up from the hamster tube, or just down.
I think I figured it out. So you have hamster tubing. I think it's actually what we're not seeing is Willy Wonka crazy tubing.
This does feel like a Willy Wonka situation.
I pondered that, but I couldn't draw it, so
that's valid. No, I want everyone to know that the most important part of this drawing is April's note that says, "Do physics exist?" Question mark.
Which is
because they don't.
Fair. Considering the logistics behind this.
So whenever I was really thinking about the Dead Wife Garden, I got kind of mad because It's like down underground.
Yeah, where's the Dead Wife Garden would be under the mansion, you're saying?
Yeah. It's like underground. And then there's like, so I was like thinking about it and I was like, okay, it's kind of on a platform. There's a bunch of water underneath. There's a lot of pipes. And I was like, oh my gosh, did he build a Dead Wife Garden in the sewer? Because if I was Emily, I would be offended. Like,
so you're saying he converted the sewers below his mansion?
Yes, to make his Dead Wife Garden.
Seems practical.
But I'm offended for her.
Yeah, or Keanu Reeves should be offended for him too if he has to lay.
Yeah.
At what point did Keanu Reeves become the dead wife?
I don't know. I was thinking about my Dead Wife Garden picture that I made, and Keanu was there, and that was a real highlight for me. So I just decided to incorporate him.
Are you updating your fantasy of your Dead Wife Garden such that you are now not the dead wife, as was the highlight of the previous the Dead Wife Garden fantasy? You are now Hawk Moth, and your dead wife is Keanu Reeves.
No, I would never do that to Keanu Reeves.
So you just no, because you wouldn't kill off Keanu.
Did.
I mean, he is in the dead wife position
he is
here.
The dead wife.
Yeah.
Like, that's what you've done to him.
Would you rather be the dead wife, or would you rather have Keanu Reeves be your dead wife?
Mm.
We need an answer to this question.
Yeah,
It's a very important question.
You know what? I'll spare Keanu, and I'll be the dead wife.
Okay, so ultimately, your original fantasy is still what you ultimately really desire, which is being Hawk Moth's dead wife.
And Keanu is just lurking in my garden.
Yeah, okay, but as long as he's still there and we're DJing the party, yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
that's all that matters.
Okay, I'll put the original drawing also in the description if I can remember below this, so people have the reference. Oh yeah, we have it. Yeah.
Oh, we have it.
Oh, we have it. Oh, you pasted it as well. Okay. You overwrote that? Oh wait, no, it just went up in Google Docs. Yeah. Okay. I see. Okay. This is okay. Overall, this is a much more, other than the fact that the drawing's excellent. This is a much more simplified version of these logistics than I was anticipating.
Okay.
This seems like at least I can wrap my head around what's going on here.
Well, that was my intention. Was that we could all wrap our head around.
It's because the actual answer is complicated and doesn't make any sense, but this one like almost makes sense.
Yeah, like I was trying to apply logic to a non-logical thing.
Yes, this is true.
How dare you?
How does he go down and also up? It makes no sense.
Well, you've answered this part. There's some sort of tubing technology situation.
Right, the hamster tube also turns into an elevator.
I'm fine. Look, that's not the problem. That's not the issue for me. I think you've solved this by your tube inside of the elevator diagram. I understand now. I'm cool with that. But now my next questions are: is the position you've located on the mansion high up enough that it makes sense with what we see in the show? Like, is that's I need a cross reference. Like, is that really high up enough?
Look at the skyline.
Yeah, does the skyline match up?
Yeah, well, no, because in this picture, the Eiffel Tower is there, but in reality, whenever he's sending out his Akumas, there's not an Eiffel Tower in that skyline.
And yet, my second question is, we all know the infamous moment from Chat Blanc where Hawk Moth hits Marinette or Adrian, and then from his mansion to the Eiffel Tower, he hits them directly there. So it would have to be that close, which I was surprised with this mansion picture that the Eiffel Tower is kind of like right there. Not close enough that him hitting one of them makes sense that they would fall there, but it is closer than I anticipated.
If you're a supervillain and you hit something with enough force, you can hit something all the way to the Eiffel Tower.
You say can as what do you mean by can? As in that's something that could happen in real life?
No. Well, if you're a supervillain with superpowers, duh.
Yeah.
I question, I think if you hit them with enough force that they'd go all the way there, but they would die. Is my thought.
No, not if they're also superheroes.
But not if they have super magic, very thin, super skin.
And if Adrian is a Centimonster, it's not going to matter.
I don't think that's the part that... That's the issue here, but...
Well, no, I'm not saying...
They wear suits that are also animals. Does it really matter?
Yeah.
No, they're not animals. They're ancient gods. Come on.
Well, they're protected. See, that makes it even better, Dylan. They're really
if they're
protected.
ancient gods, I guess they can be hit by enough force.
Super protected.
You're answering your own question.
Yeah, you are.
Sure.
I will say I was pretty shook that like the Eiffel Tower is.
Yeah,
like,
but April's
literal
saying that only in this picture is the Eiffel Tower right there. Usually we don't see it.
Yeah, whenever he sends out an Akuma and they show it flying off into the skyline, there isn't an Eiffel Tower in there.
Maybe he's
So
out looking a different part of Paris.
Well, like from the mansion, yeah. Like, so maybe it's just like the Eiffel Tower is always like too far left in the frame, and so we don't actually get to see it.
Yeah. That would make sense from this one picture that you're saying, yeah.
Yeah.
This is I think a game changer in terms of our perception of the show, and like if a Gress Mansion is really like 2 blocks from the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah. Look, every single picture that I found was able to conjure, it had the Eiffel Tower like extremely close to the
I
mansion.
will say I still think it's in the little uppy bit. Because that would make sense as
from the picture. There's like a hollow part of the little, right? You can see the sky behind it, so it'd have to be right above that too, in the super tippy top.
Yeah, that's what I think.
But if there's a hollowed out portion, how does he transport past?
It doesn't have to make sense, Dylan.
Does he teleport?
See, that's why I didn't.
It's invisible, obviously.
That's why I didn't put it in that
right.
little.
This is. I would say this is like a lot of restraint from April. If I saw this picture, I would immediately put his lair at this topmost part, and April has put it. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense to put it up there because of the hollow part.
Yeah, I know. I agree, but I would be so tempted to give up on logic completely when undergoing this exercise. However, you have April. You have grasped onto any semblance of logic that that is within reach, and have tried to apply it to this endeavor. And for that, I applaud you.
Thank you. I thought you were like berating me for it. I was no.
The tone.
You were like, this is very tame for April, and I'm like, is it though? Like, I've applied a lot of logic to this. There's a lot of thought that went into this.
No, I mean, I understand this, your proposed solution much better than I ever thought I could the Lair. So, yes, I think. Now when I'm watching the show, I'm going to think when he like summons the transportation from his office, I'm going to think like, is this really the same place he's going down? And is there a mechanism which to go to one part or the other part that goes up or down? That's what I'll be looking for now.
Well, you know what? We could talk about this all day because I was about to like, go
into another different part. Yeah, no, I'm not saying like I'm looking for something that contradicts you. I'm just gonna like think of it in those terms now, and maybe it'll like work. Maybe it'll enhance my viewing of Ladybug.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that we should take away from this is that physics don't exist in this, and he put the dead wife garden in the sewer. So.
Yeah, that's a new theory. Is that it's in the sewer? I think it maybe checks out. Also, that Keanu Reeves is the dead wife.
And Keanu Reeves is the dead wife.
Okay, so we've now answered our question of what are the logistics of Hawk Moth's Lair. Let us know. I'm interested in this. Let us know in the comments. Are you buying April's solution here? Normally, this is inviting dangerous ground for people to say that we're very wrong. But I feel like no one's going to say you're wrong. I don't think people have a better understanding of this than you have proposed, April. So I would be surprised.
There's also there's literally you can't go down and up. It makes no sense. So
yeah, I'll be impressed if someone's like, you guys are idiots. There's like a real solution for I'll be surprised.
We're waiting. We're waiting.
If you have a real solution, by all means, please.
Also, should we tweet this diagram at Thomas and see if he has comments?
Absolutely, we should.
100%.
Okay, we'll wait for the podcast to come out. But yeah, then you can tweet it at. We'll see if he responds. I bet he will. He won't respond. I don't think he can give away secrets.
Can we tweet it from the overly animated?
Yeah, we can do. Okay, we can do that.
And then I'll tweet it at him, and then it'll be fine.
Okay, we'll figure this out later. So we'll wait for a response on this. Okay, so we've got the Lair part of this podcast down pat. I think that was a good choice, April, to launch into right away because I feel like we're all more awake now after.
Yes.
Delaney, what percent more are you awake after seeing the Lair?
50%.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
I was expecting a smaller number. That's good.
Okay, I'm going to write this down, put it on my resume.
Yeah, the resume. I was going to say, are we keeping track of Delaney's awakeness throughout the podcast?
Yeah.
Let's chart it
Wait,
out.
I'll draw a diagram. with like
Add sleeping
thermometer
Delaney in.
coloring.
It's like a cutout of my face, and it's like you like fill it in.
Yeah, and just coloring it in.
like
as
one of those fundraising things where you fill it
Exactly.
up.
Yeah, you just like color it in. Yeah.
I don't know why you went there right away, but I like that. Okay, well, now that we're going to do all the important parts. So now that we're on the lair, let's talk about the memes
That
here.
wasn't.
Yeah, the lair was the most important part.
I'm saying we're on the important parts already, so let's
Okay,
keep it
you're
going
right.
with
Okay.
our second.
Hey.
So we're going to talk about all of our Hawk Moth memes, and I have a surprise for Delaney, which I think I'm giving away in that line. But we'll go through. We'll do that last. So first of all, we've referenced Hawk Daddy. I don't actually know when we started calling Hawk Moth Hawk Daddy.
I mean, it was April, and then
I
Yeah,
think
April,
it
do you
just,
think it was you?
came out?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it just came out, and then we just rolled with it. Like it never stopped.
Yeah. So when we say Hawk Daddy, all that means is Hawk Moth.
Yeah.
As I would say, as is usual when you call someone daddy, there is some element of, oh, this person's attractive. This is an older, attractive person. Would you say that's true, April?
I mean, I could see it.
You could see it. I
how
feel
do you
like
say you could see it? You
I feel
said
like that's
it.
the
It
whole
was you.
shtick. I feel like that's
That was the whole point.
Like, okay, it's like, I mean, yeah, who isn't attracted to that amount of power? Obviously.
So it's
What
you're saying it's his
power?
power and not Gabriel himself is attractive.
Look, he has the ability to make people angry like no other, so that he can then.
That's a lot of power.
I think
Yeah.
he takes advantage of the anger, the making them angry. I mean, he also has gotten better at
He-
that in terms of.
Well, okay,
Who does
it's a
purposely call him
power of manipulation. So
Are you attracted to the manipulation of Hawk Moth?
I mean, yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Who is? But also, like, it's a term of endearment. Like,
I will
for some
say Hawk
people.
Moth is more attractive than Gabriel.
That's true.
Okay, I don't know if I can let that slide. What do you?
I just remembered something that because you know how like we've been working on this outline all week, and there was something that I like remembered, and I was like, this is a really good thing. I need to bring this up, and I totally forgot it, and I've been like kicking myself in the butt because it came to me while I was on a call at work.
Oh.
Thinking of the appropriate things during work. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is it one of the memes?
No, it's a ooh.
Okay, you'll think of it. Let us know.
I'm trying to decide if it belongs in the best moments or what makes us love him so much.
Okay, either
Text.
one. I mean, look, it's all fluid
At
here.
this
gonna write
point,
it
it doesn't
down.
matter.
Yeah. Hawkmoth wearing just a ridiculous purple suit, being more attractive than Gabriel, I question. But we're not saying Gabriel, like, we're not memeing about Gabriel being daddy. We're memeing about Hawkmoth. So I think
Yeah.
we've already conceded the point, I guess. But yeah, it's mostly just a term of endearment, I would say. Yeah. Hawk
Yes.
Daddy.
We're also memeing on him.
I think we're memeing with him.
I'm not.
I think there's a divide in this podcast.
I'm not memeing with him. I'm
Delaney is
memeing on him.
memeing on him, and April's memeing with him. I would say.
Yes, I think that's what's
And
happening.
on him.
I guess.
Porque no los dos.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he can take it. I would say he can absolutely not take it. He might be one of the. Look,
we're just dishing out what he gives to other people.
It's true.
Yeah. When's Hawkmoth gonna start just memeing on the people he's akumatizing? And,
I'm waiting for it.
Yeah, we'll see. I'd say our next most basic Hawkmoth meme is the Fly My Akuma meme, which came out of the Gorzilla podcast. That's an all-time classic. And the concept was he antagonized the gorilla personally as Gabriel, and then in order to akumatize him as Hawkmoth.
He fired him. I called him, fired him, and then immediately akumatized him. It's like, are you for real?
So we had a whole section where we're giving examples of things he can do in order to elicit the negative emotion needed to akumatize them as Hawkmoth as Gabriel. So that's the frequent meme, the Fly My Akuma. And I'd say he's done versions of this since
Oh,
Godzilla.
absolutely.
Oh yeah.
That's like a shockingly early point in the show for him to break format such that he personally angers them to akumatize them in the middle of season 2.
For me, it's the phone call. That's really what gets me. Like,
Yeah.
from his stupid little house, and there's multiple people he could do this to. Like, he could probably call the mayor and just piss him off and then akumatize him.
Yeah, well, but there's like so much to it because it introduced like this whole new level of Hawk Moth, like that we've gotten to see and enjoy, like how he like purposefully made Chloe's mom mad,
Yes.
like by putting her in the second row at the fashion show, like.
Yes,
like
yes.
it just made that moment that much better.
He also gave them the sweater, I think, he used in the season 3 finale.
Yes.
Yeah, like he literally like. So he went from like, he's like, oh my god, my senses are tingling. Someone's mad in Paris. To now he makes them mad so he can akumatize them.
Yeah, this should just always be his move. He's in complete control of the akumatization in this case.
He's evolving, so.
No,
well, he's literally evolving in that he's
like,
the Scarlet Moth.
While he's there as iPad Dad, they give him, he's like, here, he gives them the ugliest sweater on earth. And it's like a get-along shirt. So funny.
Yeah, to just stick them together into his desired akumatization form.
I'm dying over iPad Dad.
I'm surprised iPad Dad isn't a meme already.
I'm adding it to this list.
I did it. I invented a new meme.
We can't just add the meme that we come up with during the podcast where we're talking about the memes.
iPad Dad.
Okay, if not now, when, Dylan?
That's true. This is the time to talk about it. New. Yeah, that's true. It is new. iPad Dad is new. There's also Adrian appears in the iPad. But I guess Gabriel's maybe the more iconic iPad. I think they're both frequently in the iPad.
Well, the thing is, it's different. So Adrian's iPad, because he's trapped. Gabriel is iPad purposefully.
He just refuses to go out of the house. Gabriel, by the way, was the ultimate quarantiner, the original quarantiner.
It's true.
Yeah.
He's been thriving during this time.
He's like so good at social
infinite
distancing.
Negative emotions to akumatize on, and he was staying inside anyway.
Yeah, well, and it's also like upsetting because remember how we were so proud of him for like getting out, like going on trains and holodadding to Japan, but then
he started to get out of his bubble, but now he's back inside all the time.
Now he's back inside.
He did not go to Japan. You say he holodads to Japan. That's an example of him staying inside. So speaking of which, we have the holodad, which happened in the episode Party Crasher. I had to look this up. I rewatched this. It's one scene in the beginning of the episode, and we do not reference it again. It's still. Along with Space Dumpsters is probably the most ridiculous thing that's ever happened in Ladybug. And that's
the thing that gets me is he doesn't he remotes in, but it's Natalie holding the iPad. That's what gets me.
He sends Natalie out, but no. In this case, Holodad. Holodad is.
He was sending Natalie to Japan too.
Yeah, Holodad is he has a fashion show to attend in Tokyo, and he says, "No, I don't want to go. I'm sending my hologram instead." And so we see a scene where Natalie's driving the hologram.
It's so great.
To the airport, presumably.
Yeah.
We questioned why does the hologram need to take a trip to the airport? The hologram could just show up in Japan. Why, is this for pretenses? Seeing, in case anyone's watching, seeing the trip there. And why is that the one part of the trip we're seeing? Why does this hologram need to be there?
It's because he always sends Natalie with it. It's not he doesn't act that's what gets me. It's not remoting. He literally is okay, Natalie, you have to go take me. What?
Yeah.
Take the hologram of me, yeah.
Yeah, you have to you have to be in charge of the hologram, and it's what?
Yeah, so that's Holodad.
Also, for a while, I thought the hologram was only in the car.
No, it is we only ever saw it in the car, I think. I think in that episode, it's just in the car. I'm unsure of the capabilities of
the hologram.
Is the purpose of is the intent with the hologram to venture anywhere, or is it only that the technology is set up thus that it can appear in the car and it is for the purpose of someone checking in on him and seeing him drive through Paris, going to the airport. So he just wants to trick people knowing that he's going to the airport.
But you could tell, though, it's not a good hologram.
But it's visible enough that we can tell it's a hologram.
He has invested all of his money into other technologies, not
Gabriel,
the
this is a waste of money. This is the trip. No one's spying on you checking in that you're going to the airport. And if they are, this is a minor thing compared to what else your money could be used
But he
for.
also, like, did it to, like, convince Adrian. So...
I guess.
He was, yeah.
I guess so. Okay, so that's Holodad. We are anticipating the Holodad follow-up. We've really been
more
waiting
Holodad
for the second season.
Yeah.
Of Holodad. Yeah, the Holodad episode. I hope so.
Like Holodad goes on an adventure.
Just Holodad's solo episode, I think.
Yeah.
Or like a really sad episode where Natalie like takes Holodad on a date.
I love that.
That could be a fanfic.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. That's the whole section of this podcast we talk about is the Natalie Gabriel romance. I don't know if we're going to. But Natalie's fantasy involving Holodad. Not as sad as Marinette's situation.
Do you think
somehow.
Natalie cuddles with Holodad at night?
Yeah, define cuddles. Consider
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's not a tangible being.
She could
Quit
have the
ruining
device
this.
that's Holodad.
This is like a Black Mirror situation. I feel like at this point,
But
where
it's like really weird because it's in like a suit and it's just laying in the bed.
yeah, I like. There is one episode of Black Mirror. I like that this is not insert Natalie and insert Holodad into this equation.
No, I hated that episode.
No, it's great. What you think of Natalie next time, and it'll be better. Dead Wife Garden, the classic one. This one's self-explanatory. He has a dead wife garden. Yes, we know that Natalie is not dead ostensibly. She's just in a coma.
Dead is in quotation marks.
For all intents
Emily.
and purposes, Emily is Natalie, Emily, nice moving on to someone with a very similar name. That's the only part that needs explanation. Is like, yeah, we're aware that Emily is not dead, but she's basically at the moment dead, and potentially she'll be woken up one day. But yeah, that's
dead to us
at the moment, and to Adrian. Sad. So we've frequently seen the dead wife garden in increasing capacities. Seemingly every episode now.
He goes in there to like loom over it.
Yeah, just monologue.
Yeah, just a monologue. That's what he does.
That's his form of therapy.
I was like, that's his.
I'm telling you, it has to be the dome because it's curved and it has the perfect acoustics for his monologues.
The dome?
Yeah, like the tip top part of the mansion.
The top, yeah. So you're saying, but that's not the dead wife garden.
Right.
You're talking about the Lair, yeah.
I still think they're the same.
So you're not buying April's back to this. You're not buying April's diagram at all. You're saying
I know.
I
appreciate it as a possible solution.
So you're saying this. If logic existed, this is a potential solution. But logic doesn't exist, therefore it's the same place.
Correct.
Okay. I somehow followed
and
where
they're
you're
just
going
like
with that. Yeah.
stacked on each other.
Like I literally think that he can go from the Lair down a couple stairs, and then he's like, "Well, here's the dead wife garden."
Yeah, you can't apply a diagram to it, or else it breaks
very
immediately.
Large cavernous lair.
Well,
and yet one seems high up and one seems low. We don't know for sure the dead wife garden is low. It could be high up just because it's.
Okay. We really need Thomas to set a list for us. So,
we really do.
The more we ask for it, the more it's not happening. So I just
right.
warn against that. Yeah.
I will tweet my picture to him every day.
No, you don't. Don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh yeah, he'll probably block me.
He gets enough. He gets enough on. He gets enough on Twitter. And encourages it. Unfortunately, still. Okay, that's the dead wife garden. Next we have space dumpsters, which I said. That's not Hawk Moth related, but Delaney is like, no, it is Hawk Moth related.
I did not. April did.
April did.
I just put it on there because
it's one of our iconic memes.
We're also contractually obligated to mention space dumpsters.
That's
true.
Yeah.
I see it now. I wasn't scrolled down here. Why are you doing this to me, Dylan?
Okay,
Wait,
now we're moving
what?
on. Now that Delaney mentioned it, last is real butterflies. And the time has come because Delaney made an 5 bullet point outline for real butterflies a year ago and has never followed up on it. So now, Delaney, now's the time we're doing the real butterflies podcast.
Oh, they're so stupid.
Take it away. Give us the mini podcast.
Okay. Because they're like, I think Thomas said this, or like they were like, okay, so we were like, we thought the Akumas were like these special butterflies that Hawk Moth had. That would make sense. You akumatize and sent them out. And then Thomas is like, no, they're real butterflies. Why are they glowing? They glow. They don't. This is not what butterflies.
That is half of the outline already.
What
yeah.
if they're bioluminescent?
In Paris doesn't have bioluminescent butterflies.
Look,
Yeah, okay, you have research on that
river
line.
It's disgusting. First off.
Like,
Yeah, what so you link to butterfliesoffrance.com.
On a website.
There's a
Like-
white one here. Yeah, there's a white one.
there is a white one, that's where I got my picture. But like,
Yeah. There's another like white looking one, that the one with the little red dots on it.
yes.
And then
Like
there's
there is
a
the white
moth
one,
in the
which
bottom
I'm like,
right.
if you decided all the butterflies, like that'd be fine. But the problem is they glow.
Okay, maybe the lighting is black lights, which would then make the white like glow.
But they glow when they're outside in Paris where there aren't black lights.
Shh, Delaney. This is an illogical show, as we previously discussed.
For context, we assumed that these are just magic creations with
Yeah,
the
we were just
superpowers,
confused.
but
Yeah.
Thomas has multiple times been very clear that these are real butterflies.
These
so
are regular butterflies.
we now
And
have
I'm like,
speculated that Hawkmoth special orders them from somewhere. That's possible. Maybe from France. Maybe he goes out and collects them. On the
okay, yeah, that's the other
weekends.
thing. So Hawk Moth. So he's Hawk Moth, but in like this show is French, and we generally watch the show in French when we can. He's the papillon, which is literally like the butterfly. So does he just control all butterflies? Is that his actual superpower? Like he's like, I summon all the butterflies to me, or does he go out with a net and catch them? These are important questions that we don't have answers to. Why are there butterflies? That's the other reason I think the Dead Wife Garden and the Lair are like on top of each other, because like the butterflies are like, oh my god, the garden, bah. So does the garden like serve another purpose? It's not just to be the Dead Wife Garden. I mean, he's Hawk, like, I don't know. So he was Hawk Moth before Emily died, but then like he got word, like, because they were being
we don't know the
superheroes.
full story yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, so like,
that's a good it's a good point. There's butterflies in the Dead Wife Garden. There are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did the Lair, like, did the garden serve a purpose before it was the Dead Wife Garden? Was it the butterfly garden? Did he just have a creepy butterfly garden? Honestly, having a creepy butterfly garden is even creepier than the Dead Wife Garden.
I think you're correct. My interpretation of the Dead Wife Garden is that they created it in order to have a place to store these butterflies that he somehow obtains, whether it be that he personally collects them or special orders them.
Or Natalie has to go out and net.
Yeah, or probably just sends Natalie out with the Animal Crossing net.
Yeah, for the record, guys, that's exactly how we're picturing it. Is it's Animal Crossing hatching butterflies?
I mean, if in Animal Crossing terms, these would be the paper kite butterflies. I assume.
Yes, these are paper kite.
I guess there's common butterflies too. Is it common or paper kite? Which one?
Well, paper kite have like the stripies, so like I guess it would be
spots,
common.
I think. I don't know. Yeah, common ones are smaller. I don't know. Yeah, so it could be either.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think they made this garden in order to keep the butterflies and have them like a habitat for them. Now that they can get a bunch of them, store them. I think that's the original intent. Yeah.
This does raise the question. So we know that Hawk Moth has twisted the ability of the Kwami. Like he is not.
What's the process of the original?
Yeah, so like
non-twisted version.
Like, does he like bless a butterfly and it's like maybe it glows gold or something, as opposed to like the dark evil Akumas we see?
We got to see that at some point. The real purpose of
what is the actual purpose of Hawk Moth's Miraculous?
Yeah, I think that would be a huge thing to see, a really cool visual thing that they could show. But it's a good, but we don't really know what our butterfly, in terms of real butterflies, since this is the real butterfly mini version of the podcast. What are our butterflies used in the process of the papillon normally? Presumably, yeah, because it's called the papillon. But are they used in a different way? Yeah, so I think that would be interesting.
Like, is the actual purpose to make everyday people superheroes? Like, is it actually, because the obvious way to go would be that the alternative is you're supposed to take positive emotions and use that to like help people.
Yeah. Maybe we saw something similar in the New York special with the Hawk power.
Yes, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that it got corrupted and it unleashed their ambitions. I forget what the real purpose is too. Maybe it's the same thing. But yeah, I think that's probably the most similar analogy.
Like, I think it makes you like a better you.
Yeah. So I think that
your full potential or something.
Yes, that's a really interesting topic too, involving Hawk Moth. But in terms of the butterflies, yeah, I think they he had the existing butterfly garden to store them, and so then he converted it into the dead wife garden because it's like, oh, it's the most beautiful place to see. It's a beautiful secret place that I can store the dead wife.
Secret place in the sewer.
Potentially in the sewers. I mean, maybe that's how they get the water supply. That would make sense, I guess, for all the plants.
So now I'm just imagining every time, like, Hawk Moth, like, if he goes outside, butterflies are just like, hey, what's up? And they just, like, follow him around.
Yeah, so your notion of, like, does he control butterflies? Yeah, I would say we've not seen anything to indicate that he actually controls butterflies, but I like that thought. Yeah. And, okay, going back to April's diagram, where did it go? Is it gone?
No, it's at the bottom.
It's at the bottom. If the real butterflies are kept in the dead wife garden, then how do they get to the lair?
They bring them up, remember?
So
they go through the Willy Wonka tube.
Yeah, we see there's like a tube that opens and butterflies come out, right? We see that at some point. I assume something like that. So yeah, is there a separate tube for the butterflies? Is there a butterfly tube?
Wasn't there like legit a moment in an episode where they were like harvesting the butterflies from the dead wife garden and to like bring up to
I think we do see that at some point.
Yeah.
So he just personally takes them up. He takes them up manually.
Yeah.
That's the most reasonable solution.
He's like,
I like that. I like the idea that the butterflies have a separate
ready
tube
for akumatizing people.
Right.
There's like a dumbwaiter, and he like just slides like a box of butterflies into it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like at some point we see them come out of somewhere. I wanna investigate this. The problem with like investigating anything surrounding the logistics of Hawk Moth is it happens like once an episode at like a random time. It's very hard to research, I think.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't sit there and be like, oh, in this episode, blah, 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 blah took place. And then in this episode, no, it doesn't work that way.
Through all the Ladybug episodes. Hawk Moth rewatch. We'll just look for Hawk Moth details. We could do it. April could do it. That would be the most likely one. Delaney, is there anything else with real butterflies that you wanted to... why the butterflies in Ladybug are stupid is your title.
Yeah, I wanted everyone to know that was the title. Yeah.
Are you any more satisfied after our discussion?
No!
Okay.
Why did they glow?
Yeah, I need to go look back at the extent that they're glowing.
These are real butterflies when they freaking glow.
I'm telling you, black light.
Yeah, it's not just that they're white and then the lighting makes them glow. Like, that would be the most reasonable solution?
Look,
okay.
I don't know, man. I'm just trying to offer you some.
Also, it's even worse if he like does like cursed magic on these poor butterflies.
Clearly, they're infused with magic at when they turn into a Kuma. But yeah,
Correct.
Maybe they're also he only harvests them after there's enough magic imbued with them in the dead wife garden.
I'm telling you, they're like magic butterflies. It's messed up.
Right, so maybe Thomas is like being annoying when he says they're real butterflies because they start as real butterflies, but then they turn into magic butterflies through the dead wife garden somehow.
Ooh, okay, I'm okay with this. This makes me
might
happy.
be the most satisfying explanation. Yeah.
This is okay.
Okay, we're gonna look into this more. Okay,
yeah,
we'll keep our eyes open for Ladybug episodes for more details on the butterflies or logistics of the aggressed lair, since they seem to be connected here. That was it for our memes. And yeah, that's a meme in and of itself, is the real butterflies, mostly because it
He tried to
enrages
trigger
Delaney.
me earlier, and earlier he said real butterflies, and I let it go.
When did I say real butterflies?
Oh my god, I don't know. It was like 20 minutes ago, and I got mad, but I held it in.
That was my biggest innovation since we talked about that line initially, is I added the real butterflies document to it. So now we don't have to do that podcast. We did it here. Okay. Until the next time that there's a big real butterflies development, then we can come back to it.
For me to yell about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to talk about why we love Hawk Moth. I think that's the last biggest topic, and we can quickly go through some of the worst. I guess we also have speculation. There's so much to talk about here, man.
I know, man.
Man, yeah. What makes us love Hawk Moth? This should have been the first topic, I assume, but we had more important things to talk into. My big question here was: is Hawk Moth actually like a great character, or is he just like a meme character? I know it's a hard-hitting question. My initial thought was,
I think he has elements of a great character.
Okay,
but just like the circumstances of the show and the situation makes it like hard to take him seriously. Like, I think he's got a really great motivation for why he's doing what he's doing, especially like as the seasons have progressed. Because he started off just being like Hawk Moth, but like now that like we know who he is and like what his motivation is, like he's become an actual character. And I mean, like there's moments where I'm like, I would love it if Hawk Moth won, just because that would be interesting and I'd love to see what he does with it. So
yeah, if we get the dark ending where he gets to make the wish, I think I'm on the same page. I think Hawk Moth starts as a pretty generic villain. Like, he's inherently supposed to be this pretty generic force. And then the show really interestingly starts imbuing all this backstory and revolving the show around this backstory to what Hawk Moth did with the Miraculouses. But in season 1, it's hard to get more generic than I think we start with Hawk Moth, which makes him such like a potentially lovable or memeable force.
Yeah.
But it's a particularly appealing when we take this kind of generic meme character and then actually start making him a good character, because I do think there's a lot to Hawk Moth, as is being discussed in this podcast. Some of it is actual things that make him a good character.
Yeah. Well, and like, I mean, we've already like touched on the fact, like, yeah, like his plans always fail, and like some of them are really out there, but like he's, like, yeah, we think it's really funny because he'll like sit there and like call like, Adrian's bodyguard and make him mad, but also at the same time, like, that is such like a good move. Like, use your like status and your power to your advantage to obtain your goal. Like, that's pretty like, that's like on point.
Sometimes he is smart. Is what you're saying. Yeah. Considering how rich he is, he should be much more successful.
I would say 25% of the time.
There's layers to Hawk Moth. Sometimes he has the stupidest character ever, and sometimes he has like actually good plans.
He exemplifies what we love about Ladybug, because Ladybug has always been this show with a lot of potential because of all its lore and like the interesting mechanics of how the world works. But then also you have like a lot of this like tropey nonsense with its characters. And so Hawk Moth like embodies that.
Right, I agree. I think he's simultaneously a ridiculous character, like in like a fun way. That's what we love about Ladybug, but also has a lot of legitimate plot and characterization to him, which I think also does exist in the show.
And I think like that could also be said of like, Marinette and Adrian as well. So it's just so happens that Hawk Moth is the villain. And we're getting kind of
he's just the most memeable character. Like, he just completely embodies. Like,
I think that's a good point. Marinette too also is like has a lot of very ridiculous aspects, but also is a great character. In terms of characterization. Hawk Moth, probably Marinette is like 80% great characterization, 20% memes. Hawk Moth is like 80% memes, 20% great characterization.
Yes, I would agree.
Because he does have really great like characterization. So it's just, too easy to.
And I think it starts as like 100% memes with Hawk Moth, and it's slowly turned into something more, maybe more like a 70-30 or 60-40. Still mostly ridiculous, but he's like
still mostly memes.
Increasingly as the show has gone on, I think, as a more legitimate stuff.
And I think the biggest like turning point for that too was that whenever like we did have the reveal that he was Gabriel. So
yeah, well, that's the thing to remember about Hawk Moth is that's the big mystery of the first season. Who is Hawk Moth? We don't know.
And then in season 2, they were like, "We're not going to waste any time. Here you go."
And the Collector in the season 2 premiere is one of his great episodes. It's probably his smartest move ever, still, and also just a big moment for him where we get the reveal. And like you watch season 1 and you assume that Gabriel is Hawk Moth, but the show specifically never tells you, and I think it's handled in a pretty fun way. And then it's really one of the, I feel like, the great reveals. Not that it's like much of a surprise, but it's just like the second you're tired of this being a mystery, it's immediately revealed in the season 2 premiere. I think it's like handled really well.
And then they're like, we have to go find Hawk Moth. And then they get outsmarted by this dum-dum. And it's like, oh my God.
And it's such a great, the conflict between Hawk Moth and Marinette and Adrian is fantastic because who wouldn't outsmart Hawk Moth, this ridiculous excuse for a villain who makes all these bumbling mistakes? Oh, it's 2 14-year-olds in Paris. Like, these teenagers, and particularly stupid teenager. No, not really. I mean, they're both smart, but they have ridiculous, stupid elements to them. Yeah, they're clouded by the situation around them and their current life situation. So it totally makes sense that neither side would be able to outsmart each other. Really, Hawk Moth, if you look at this objectively, should have taken over the world by now. He has all the resources too.
Well, it's one of those like situations where what is it? Who's the one? I can't think of specific characters, but it's like you have like a really great plan and it's well thought out and everything, but then like you just you're approached with like something that you just didn't plan for. And I feel like that's always like Hawk Moth's like that's his downfall. He's like, how could I have possibly planned for this? Like, because you're not a 14-year-old girl or boy or whatever.
I like that. That's a generous interpretation. Is like there's such things that his perspective is so different that of Marin and Adrian.
Yeah, and I think that's why like I think that's also like why like he becomes very like he seems incompetent, but it's just because he's putting Marinette and Adrian on a level of thought that he is not, like, they're not on. And so then he's like, how was I outsmarted by children? And it's like, because you're not thinking like a child. So
yeah, I think that's.
Or is it because he is thinking like a child?
Yeah, we'll get to some of his lowlights in a second, but there's some layers here. I mean, other things we've listed, the campiness. I think, as we talked about in terms of like ridiculous or meminess, he's like inherently like a campy villain as his premise, but then also has these legitimate stuff to it. That's what I said here. Is starts out with not much characterization. You guys said absolute disaster, incompetence, quotable, stupid puns. Yeah, his puns are a big thing too.
Stupid puns. But it also makes me hate him though.
Yes.
And we also wanted to shout out both of Hawk Moth's voice actors as well, which is Keith Silverstein, as we've talked about several times, and his English voice actor. We love Keith Silverstein's voice work, but also Anton Tomé, his French voice actor. I think they're both really incredible for Hawk Moth.
They definitely like bring life to the character so much.
I think probably the most consistent, like I don't think of Hawk Moth as either English or I feel like his voice is both to me. Yeah. It's pretty similar in a good way, is both of them.
Because it's even more like impressive because they're not the voice actors aren't the same person. Like sometimes it, like you get that whenever like, oh, it's a like bilingual actor, and so they're able to just like, do it in the 2 different languages. But the fact that it's 2 different like voice actors and they bring the same life to the character is just impressive.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. You on the same level of conversation, but we've been talking about some of his best and worst moments. We mentioned as we were putting this on the outline, the difference between a best Hawk Moth moment and a worst moment, I think, can be a thin line.
Yes.
Because something we might consider a best moment is his funniest moment, but that actually might be him being stupid. So actual best moments is like him in The Collector. He it seems like they're gonna figure out who he is, and then he deflects suspicion by akumatizing himself. So it's like a great move. Actual other good moments. I think in the New York special, we commented on his plan was actually pretty solid.
So
Yes.
yeah, I was like, his plan was super solid in the New York special for sure.
Is that a sign that he's getting better? Because that's our most recent viewing of him.
First off, look, here's how you know that he's doing well. Because he has been the most competent at disguising his identity. Like, when you think about it, like, all Marinette and Adrian did was, like, put on a mask. And he's, like, got, like, the full, like, head covering and everything like that. That's the thing that I thought of in the middle of a meeting. And was like, I'm like, he went through a lot of really good, like, lengths to.
Is that him, or is that just what the Kwame naturally does?
Well, no, because they said that the person like decides how their like costume looks when they transform, because it's in the episode whenever it's like
a mental link, and then it senses what they want, and then
because what is it, it's in the episode with the singer dancer lady, the rhyming
episode, the iconic rhyming episode.
Yeah, because Adrian's like putting on the costume, and Plog's like, oh, like this is super like amazing, like this is great. And he's like, why didn't you think of this like for your actual costume?
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, he had and whether it's because of his like scheming or his natural desire to be secret or whatever, he has ended up with the best disguise. Yeah, I think that's probably true.
Yeah. And he also like he doesn't ever. Well, I mean, in the beginning, like he never would leave his lair,
which is a good move if you don't want to be discovered. Yeah,
exactly.
That is correct.
So
yeah, I think so. So some other potential best moments I put on. He performs Hawk Moth duties from the train bathroom.
Yes.
The train bathroom stall. I think it's probably a good call. Having some versatility, going outside the lair, being capable of.
Also, that entire episode's hilarious because all of them keep going in the train bathroom.
Yeah, Adrian's in the opposite train bathroom. I guess I didn't put this on, but him venturing outside Paris in the season 2 finale, it's a big deal. Or outside his lair into Paris. Yeah, so that's a definitely a highlight for him, and he's done that once or twice since going outside the. Yeah.
Sometimes when you want to get things done, you gotta leave your lair.
Yeah, as he's figured out. I mean, he's increasingly desperate, I guess. But also maybe just learning.
I was gonna say, I don't know if it's necessarily coming from like a place of desperation, but like I think that even though it's not said, it's really like legitimately one of those things like if you want something to happen, like you have to do it yourself, and so like he's got to get out there, and because like
he's got to cause problems on purpose.
Yeah, I would say Gabriel for the most part does not embody that attitude, considering he sends Natalie to do a lot of his chores for him.
True, but when you think about,
but that would be his moment is when he goes outside. Yeah,
I was gonna say when you think about like the moments where he got the closest to succeeding is whenever he left the lair and did it himself. I mean, he was still using other people, but
we should add the purple-edged
Papillon. Yeah, it's a whole season 2 finale. His whole big plan. I guess his big plans are his best moments, especially the season 2 plan. Season 3 plan finale. I think he also probably comes pretty close. That was the sweater is a big component of that. But yeah, Purple Edge Papillon / Scarlet Moth. I think is a great idea.
Yeah.
We mentioned the Fly My Akuma moment. Delaney also I assume this is a Delaney edition, but tries to kill his son but not kill him in Gorizilla.
Oh no, that was April.
That's April.
That one.
Yeah.
But he did because like
potential low light is almost killing him, but he does ultimately not want to.
Yeah, he ultimately doesn't want to, but he's also like he has that suspicion that Adrian is like Cat Noir, and so he's like it's a very like controlled situation where he's like, I'm gonna try and get the information that I'm seeking, but it like in a way that I can control, kind of thing. Because I think he also always knew in the back of his head that like Ladybug would save Adrian. So he was like, this plan is flawless. So either I find out my son is Cat Noir, or I don't. Like, you know,
I would say many people would say Hawk Moth's worst moments are both the Gorzilla and also the Chat Blanc, where he is a terrible father to Adrian and almost like destroys him. I would say many people would say that.
But also, like in the Gorzilla episode, he also has that very like tender moment with his son too, like at the end of it, where he's just like, "Hey, like let's sit down, let's watch this movie together," because that's what Adrian wanted to do. So, yeah,
I think in my view, he's never appeared overall to be a bad parent. I mean, like, he's a bad parent, but I guess he's definitely a bad parent. He's never overall appeared to like not care about Adrian. Like, there's always an element of concern to him.
Like, he definitely cares about Adrian, and it's very clear he just sucks.
He's just yeah.
He doesn't go about it in the best fashion.
Certainly.
I mean, they take that trope of like overprotective parent to the max.
Yeah, and also he just, regardless of Hawk Moth duties, he locks Adrian in, and all that's not great. His parenting style. I do think Chat Blanc's when people were the most pissed at Gabriel as a parent.
Because it was awful.
Because it was awful. But as we've discussed, it's like an alternate timeline, and for the most part, other than maybe those two episodes,
because I really don't think that's how he would react.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Is like it seems like it's a very like overreaction, so much so that it's like it's outside of like Gabriel and Hawk Moth.
I feel like it's within the range of things Gabriel's capable of. We've seen him almost kill Adrian, or we've seen him care a lot about Adrian. So I think we just see extremes in that scenario.
Well, I think it's just dependent on. Like, he would never purposely put Adrian in danger.
Yeah, which is why, like, again, like, I think that, it looked really bad in Gorizilla, but also, like, it was a very, like, controlled situation, even though it didn't seem that way.
In his mind, he was not putting him in danger, even though we don't think he is. Yeah, and I think potentially an element of this is whether Adrian is a scent monster. Is this his original kid? Is this someone who he views as a real person? I think that might inform our perceptions of him as a parent if there's this additional factor, which regardless whether he's a scent monster, whether he's the original child, he still should be 100% concerned about him, but it might at least let us understand more what's going through his head.
Yeah.
And maybe prioritizing his dead wife versus someone who in the back of his mind he views as not fully human, even though he tries to. I think that might make sense.
Well, and that would also explain, I mean, Adrian being a scent monster would explain so much in terms of like how he like, I guess, treats and
treats him, keeps him inside. And we did a whole podcast on this for more context. Yeah, it might explain a lot more of Hawk Moth's behaviors as well, Gabriel's behaviors. But yeah, I would reference that podcast for more. And I think the other main one for his best moments was Lila.
Yes.
Yeah, we he does use Lila several times, forms a pact with him, even though Lila doesn't really fully understand.
So like Lila is like smarter and also more evil.
Yeah, I think a lot of people would agree with that.
Well, and I think again it comes to that like in terms of like the mindset, because Lila is also a 14-year-old girl or 15-year-old, whatever.
Well, she's definitely like Hawk Moth, like he just wants Emily back, but like Lila's like, I want Ladybug to die.
Yeah, she's like vicious.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite that far out as a Lila defender, but we are less clear of there's less of a sympathetic motivation as underlines Gabriel. So I think we're less sympathetic maybe to what she's doing. But Hawk Moth is a grown man, and
So this
Lila
is all.
is a teenager.
That's the other thing. This is genius, but also it's one of his worst moments because he's yet again
using children.
It's
So
like,
let's talk about that. His
Moth.
worst moments. How about this time he akumatized the baby and then did it many more times?
All the time. Every time he akumatizes the baby, and then for whatever reason makes the baby huge. Why is this your strategy? Why?
I like it, but it's clearly not working.
It's not working, but he's like, maybe on that one off chance it might, like, because think about it, it's like wearing down your opponent, like, because they even like express like their frustrations of like the repeated akumatizations, and so if they think that they like, if they get like cocky in the situation, then that's where mistakes happen. So maybe that's what he's like counting on. Maybe it is very strategic. Move it to the best.
I don't think so.
It's a generous interpretation as usual. Yeah, Mr. Pigeon, in terms of akumatizing him a million times, the show's turned that into a recurring joke. He keeps akumatizing Mr. Pigeon. I love it. I think that's in the beginning of the New York special too. I think, right?
Yes.
Oh man, keep bringing it back. But yeah, Hawk Moth, it seems like he either has an intricate plan.
Mr. Rat.
Yes, Mr. Rat as an important part. Seems like Hawk Moth either thinks a long time to have a super intricate plan or is on autopilot sometimes.
Yeah, that's the other thing. So it's either like he's like, I have this really big plan and it's going to take me a while, but in the meantime, I'm going to akumatize Mr. Pigeon 85 times.
Yeah. Hard to reconcile the two.
I think it's another one of those things, again, like wearing down your opponent, like in the background he's working on his ultimate plan, but then he's just like, I'll entertain myself.
Also, his plans are extremely dependent on like some drama that is occurring that he is not necessarily the direct cause of.
Yeah.
There's a lot of what he's doing is teenage drama in Paris.
Yes.
He's capitalizing. Yeah, kind of a low light as well.
And that's my favorite. He's like, I don't know any of Adrian's friends. It's like, don't you akumatize them every week?
Yeah, he definitely does know.
I wonder if it's also like because he gets like a bad feeling kind of thing. So maybe he's not necessarily like, oh, this is a friend of Adrian's. Like, that's not what he's thinking. He's like,
one of the bullet points here is all of his efforts are focused on a freshman class of students. Unclear if he's trying to focus on Adrian's class or if this is like the most like drama-filled people.
Well, I feel like we've gotten to the point where he definitely is trying to focus on Marinette. Like, we've had a couple of that, like, where he's failed.
There's a few times when he's targeted Marinette. Yeah, it seems to be someone. I'm not. The thing that makes, the real answer is that, it's a TV show and there's only so many characters we know. But the thing that makes sense the most to me, if you want to apply logic to it, is he is viewing the people around Adrian or the people close to him, considering this all is kind of like in a geographic few blocks of each other, it seems to be.
Yeah.
So those just might be the people he sees outside the lair. Like, look, it's these same dumb teenagers. It's the same
Granted, he also
pigeon
knows,
guy.
Granted, I think he also knows that Marinette, Ladybug, and Cat Noir are children.
Yeah.
So he's looking for potential. Yeah, the show doesn't talk a lot about that, but yeah, he's looking for potential Ladybug and Cat Noirs. And maybe he's charted out that Ladybug and Cat Noir always appear around this area as well. That might make sense.
Yeah.
It's the heart of Paris, so it's probably a little hard to tell.
They're more likely to show up or...
Well, with Chloe, the likelihood of someone getting real mad is really high.
Also, he's forming an alliance with Chloe and Lila, and now they're in so maybe it all is coalesced into this group of people, but still not great that he's targeting these children. As another part of that line, doesn't realize his son is Cat Noir, is slowly killing Natalie, but also in love with her, ? That's good. Hasn't revived his wife yet, is generally continuously losing to children. All of that stuff, not great. Either in terms of he sucks or he's a bad person. Probably a combination of those. Yeah, we just have to accept a lot of that in the premise of my number one. His like this isn't like morally wrong. It's just his incompetence.
He's such an idiot.
He akumatizes the robot. He has this missile defense system, which has only ever been seen in this one episode inside his lair. Got to factor that into the lair drawing that there's a whole missile defense system installed. And Markov turns his missiles on him. And so just having his missiles here for some reason as
Also-
a safety precaution and losing control of it.
Also losing an Akuma. Because there was that one episode
Oh
where he
yeah,
lost
it got
the
like it was on the
Akuma.
train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm dumb.
And it gets taken with them. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of times when his plan is not going right, I think is what we're saying here. But yeah, a lot of worse moments. How about we end on any sort of speculation we've talked, I think, some about this for the next 2 seasons. We're talking about, is he going to make his wish? Is Emily going to be revived? Adrian's a Sentimonster. Oh, I will say, promising, supposedly a season 4 episode title we know the name of is Gabriel Agreste. That's the name of the episode, according to Gloob on Instagram. So I've speculated that maybe the beginning of season 4 we could have a big turning point in the show. It's tempting to view the Gabriel Agreste episode as a potential point for him making his wish or some other huge moment involving him, and that might come early on in season 4.
I mean, I feel like it has to if they're talking about like it'll be a different villain. So like we need to like turn a little bit.
Well, they said that there will be is it another villain or a different villain? Because those are not the same thing.
Take with they have a new villain. It doesn't mean it's going to replace him, I think.
Yeah.
But again, it also coming from Jeremy, so asterisk. But yeah, I mean, certainly something's going to change in the status quo. I mean, I think we'd anticipate that with the new season regardless. Especially as we've talked about how kind of seasons 2 and 3 are made together, seasons 4 and 5 are made together. So this is a true season break we're on now.
Also, we ended season 3 with like evil Chloe, so
It's true.
Yeah, there's nothing immediate that needs to happen at the end of season 3 with Chloe, but presumably that's leading up to something because she's back. She's no evil powers at the moment. She's just like she's anti-Ladybug now is the biggest change. And Hawk Moth has tried to form an alliance.
She also knows the identities of Miraculous holders too.
I think that's unclear to me if she remembers that. But yeah. It's a interesting
You better
point.
remember it.
That would be a big deal if she did remember. Yeah,
Well,
because most of the time if you're akumatized, you don't know. You don't remember what happened. But she was voluntarily akumatized on top of being her superpower, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how it works.
But also, Hawk Moth was there during that as well. So Hawk Moth also knows all of those identities.
Yeah, that's true. Hawk Moth probably knows all the minor,
and Natalie,
with a few exceptions who didn't. There's some I think in that episode that didn't transform evil, but yeah. So that's a good point. We have to speculate more on that. So this is there's something that's going to change. So maybe this Gabriel Agreste episode. I think I've said before in our past off-season speculation podcast. Originally I thought the wish might happen end of season 3. Now I feel like it's maybe end of season 5. But that's going to happen at some point. It's going to be a big deal. We have to see what the status quo of these next 2 seasons are going to be.
Like, that would be so unsatisfying if he never got to make his wish.
Yeah, he's gonna make.
Yeah,
as much as
you gotta let him
I,
make the wish.
Yeah, you have to let him make the wish. So, give Hawk Moth his wish, please.
Give him his wish.
I would hate to see Ladybug and Cat Noir fail, but I need it. Give me wish.
Yeah. I agree. And we've speculated a lot about this before, but Delaney, anything we've discussed changing your perspective on what you anticipate happening with Hawk Moth in the next 2 seasons?
No, I don't think so. It's just I don't know. Maybe that it's a bit more urgent. That maybe we're gonna get that payoff sooner rather than later. But I also just don't know. Is it Hawk Moth teaming up with someone, which is what we thought was going to be happening, or is it Hawk Moth finally gets what he wants?
Yeah. April, anything changing on your outlook?
I feel like season 4 is going to start off big in the way that season 2 did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because that was such a game changer whenever they revealed Hawk Moth's identity, and so. I wouldn't be surprised if Gabriel Agreste is the first or second episode, because anytime that we have a big game-changing event in the show, it's usually like centered or focused around Hawk Moth or Gabriel. So
Yeah.
Something big is gonna happen, and I'm here for it.
We'll definitely be here for it. Yeah, I think I'm still maybe not going to anticipate the. It would be great if it happened, but I don't think the wish would happen beginning of season 4. It's possible.
I mean, I don't think it'll necessarily be the wish, but something is going to happen.
Yeah, I was going to say some new status quo changing a thing will happen in the beginning of season 4 to set the stage for what's going to happen in season 4 and 5. So I think and I get the Gabriel Gress title is I think the thing that would make me most think that something bigger is coming sooner. Whereas before I maybe we keep the status quo until the middle of season 4 or something. I think probably right. Like, we'll do something at the beginning, which is very exciting.
I was going to say this show doesn't do that though. Like this show just does whatever it wants, and it'll have huge episodes in the middle of the season. So
right, for the most part, we only ever see, other than the beginning of season 2, end of season 2, end of season 3. Those like the big changing points for the show. So not a lot of precedent for us having these big changing moments.
I feel like there was like big changing moments in the middle of like there were episodes that had like.
Yeah, I mean, as we've talked about, there's the feast episode, but these are things that aren't followed up on immediately.
Yeah.
It doesn't I feel like if something's going to be truly game changing, it needs to necessitate every episode that comes after it is different.
Well, that's why in my opinion, the season 3 finale was so huge because there's so much that took place that you can't.
Yeah, you made good arguments here that this has to be a game-changing moment. We haven't seen the follow. I mean, I would argue the New York special we saw hasn't followed up on anything from the season 3 finale. So I think we'll see if that is true of season 4.
Yeah.
That was like we're away from Paris. You could explain away some of not addressing things immediately. Mm-hmm.
But I take the New York special as like it's like an outside thing, but also not. You know what I mean?
I think so. And also keep in mind that the Guardians are back in play at the end of
so it does like tie into it.
I do think it's considered to be something that is in the canon, but not as connected as normal episodes are.
Yeah.
And we'll have to see if the Shanghai special comes before season 4 as well. Which I think it's supposed to. I don't remember. But that would be another.
Who knows?
So I know it's all very exciting. Yeah, I think like we're a little bit more optimistic about something big happening sooner, which would be very fun. Mm-hmm. And by sooner we mean September or around then. So we'll see when that happens. Delaney, what are your closing Hawk Moth thoughts?
He is such a meme.
So this podcast is for you only reinforced his memedom.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm here because I wanted to dunk on him.
I think we had a fair amount of dunking, so I think mission successful.
Yeah.
April, what are your takeaways here?
That my love for Hawk Moth continues to thrive and will forever be undying. So, I know.
It's only reinforced your love of him.
Yes, of course.
That's good.
Also, I'm really glad I got to draw up the Lair sketch. So.
I know that came out very well.
Thank you. I spent way too much time on it.
What part took the most time? I mean, the part on the top left it seems like the most artistic endeavor, but maybe the thinking out the logistics of.
No, it was drawing the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah, that's the most intricate, I think.
Yeah. Well, and then like it's gonna sound really dumb and stupid, but masking the Keanu Reeves image because I was like, it has to be just right, and then I was like, this was stupid. I like you can't even.
It paid off. It paid off. Yeah, we talked about it. It was good. Okay, so let us know your thoughts on anything from this podcast, especially your take on April's interpretation of the logistics of the Lair, but also everything we've talked about here. Let us know.
Yeah.
Find all the ways to contact us at overlyanimated.com. Consider supporting us via Patreon at patreon.com/overlyanimated. Thanks to our current patrons, especially our patron of the podcast, Cat Sass, and thanks as always to our patron executive producers, Ryan, Steve, Beatrice, Hugh, Michael, Needle, and Phonician. Coming up next time, the Anime Podcast, an Owl House Season 2 speculation podcast. So stay tuned for that, and we will see what our next Ladybug podcast is. We're always going to be on alert for any big Ladybug developments, but we might be in a little bit of a slow time here for this part of 2021. Regardless, we're having fun with Ladybug. This is a fun podcast, and hope you guys enjoying us continue to talk about Ladybug. So I think that's it. Thanks for listening, guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.